Nicolandria, hi, how are you feeling?
But we might just get away with it.
Hi, my name is Olivia and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about Nicolandria and why the slow burn is always going to be the better choice. If you're new here, this is a bit of a different video. I'm going to be doing a get ready with me while we chat about Love Island, slow burn, friends to lovers, as well as some other books that kind of relate to the similar topic. Yeah, without further ado, here is our video. Okay, so to get started, firstly, I don't know how you guys are feeling after episode 30. Personally, I'm feeling pretty fucking great. I am an admitted day one Nicolandria shipper. So honestly, I'm feeling good. But I am a firm believer that Nicolandria was always going to work out. The reasoning behind that is from day one, Alandria was always saying that she wanted a relationship that started out as friends first. Like, that was one of her, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? That was like one of her needs. Like, that was something that she really was interested in and like really wanted to do. So from day one, we know Alandria has pretty not high standards, I guess, but Alandria has needs that are going to be met, and she wants to be friends first. She was a slow burner, and she just wants that like emotional connection before she takes anything physical. I wanted to bring up some like movies and books that kind of talk about friends, or that are about friends to lovers, as well as like a slow burn, because honestly, the people that clocked it, and I clocked that from day one, that Nicolandria were going to work out in some manner. And I feel like some people are going to be like, well, it just seems like the production are the ones that are making this happen because of like the fans wanted it to happen. And I'm like, listen, you can think that all you want. I personally believe that they were both dancing around each other because of their other connections, like Taylor and Sierra. So now that Taylor is with Clark and Sierra is gone, they have nothing holding them back. And I feel like we're finally going to be able to see what, honestly, we should have been seeing from day one. But let's talk about slow burn. And let's talk about slow burn. Oh my god. Let's talk about slow burn friends to lovers. This is a trope that's really popular. It's specifically pretty popular in movies, TV shows, and books. Some that are just coming off the top of my head are like Love, Rosie, 13 Going on 30, People We Meet on Vacation, the Emily Henry book, New Girl, Nick and Jess. So those are just some examples that I can think of. This is a really popular trope in specifically more like young adult romance, TV shows, movies, books. So the reasoning why I clocked that Nicolandria was going to work in some capacity was because I am a huge romance reader, viewer, consumer. I could see the potential from the start. So like as soon as I saw them have that physical chemistry right off the bat and hear their own standards, their own ideal partners, I was like, in some way, I feel like they're going to work out. And then I didn't even know that Nicolandria was going to pop off the way that it did. I mean, I remember like saving a few edits when like the first episode came out, and they had, well, no, the first two. So like when they had the first kiss on the first night and then their kiss in the blindfold challenge, that was when I clocked it, and I was like, they might have some potential to be like the winners of the entire show. Hear me out. I might be jumping the gun a little bit. I mean, not really though, considering this is the final week, but I think that Nick and Alandria have the potential to be the season 7 winners. However, I think Nick and Alandria do have the potential to win because they've had this connection since day one, and because they have such a big fan base supporting them. I think they have a pretty good chance of winning. So, all that to be said, I want to pose the question, like, why are they so captivating as a couple together, and why do they have such a huge fan base of people that were like ride or die. Like the Nicolandria hive, I've been in the trenches for weeks. Like, we never lost hope. We just continued to, you know, move on and just like have hope that they were going to be together eventually. Like, considering, I mean, dude, that night when they had the Casa Amor recouplings and they had the date that they went on, I don't think I have felt such a high in years. That was seriously, that and last night's episode were like the happiest moments of my life. No, I'm just kidding. But like the happiest I've felt in a long time. It's just so satisfying to like see your ship play out in real time. Well, I guess let's go back. So let's think about the journey of Nicolandria, right? So first night, they have that initial physical attraction to each other. Like, Olandria picks Nick to kiss. She ultimately goes with Taylor, but as we all know, that's kind of just because she's been hung up on the whole cowboy thing. But then the next night, Nick seeks her out for the blindfold kiss, and he kisses her as well. And then we kind of just have this like cat and mouse game for a while. They pick each other for challenges. They obviously are close friends. There's so much footage of them just in the background together, just hanging out, you know, laughing with each other, sitting across from each other. I feel like they were sitting across from each other at dinner almost every single night. There's so much footage of them sitting next to each other, just like in the villa. So we have that established friendship, which, as we all know, that is what Olandria wanted before she entered a romantic relationship, at least a physical romantic relationship with anybody. And Nick is somebody that listens specifically to Olandria. Every single detail that she's been telling everybody about, like her ideal partner, like her ideal relationship, Nick has been listening to and keeping that in his head the entire time. I feel like he's been storing it for later because he wanted to know these things and he wanted it to work out between them, but he just knew it wasn't the right time. We are literally witnessing a live action romance novel, like in real time. It's so insane. I feel like if you were paying attention, you noticed it, but it also like, it just played out in such a better way than I could have ever even imagined, honestly. But anyway, so Nick has been like slowly paying attention. They've been building this friendship bond with each other, and it kind of just seemed like maybe they were just gonna stay friends. But then Casa Amor happened and they both got dumped. At this point, you know, obviously the Nicolandria hive is huge. Like, even Ariana Maddox is in on the joke. Like, she also wants them to be together. So it's not as if we were that delusional, because we did have people on the inside admitting that they saw it. Hell, even Nick's sister and mother were supporting this relationship, even though there was barely any evidence to go off of it other than them just like being good friends and those first two kisses on the first night. So, friends and those first two kisses on the first night. So, Casa Amor, this is why I'm saying this is true romance book material, because we literally witnessed a true slow burn in real time. Like, it's so crazy. I feel like we really haven't seen a slow burn quite like this on Love Island ever, to my knowledge. I guess the closest thing we got to it was season 5 of Love Island Australia. Kale and Tyra, who actually ended up winning that season, they had something sort of similar where like they both went on a first date with each other, but Kale chose a different girl because Tyra, she actually like kind of took a step back because like she had a different connection, and her best friend was Kale's like other connection, and so she basically told both of them like, I'm gonna take a step back, I want you guys to have the best connection you can have, like I'm not gonna be in your way, blah blah blah. And so Tyra takes a step back, and then Kale and Nakia ended up like exploring their connection. They were pretty strong for a while until Kale got dumped from the villa. this is the first time in Love Island history, to my knowledge, and I've seen a few seasons of UK, Australia, and USA at this point. I'm fairly certain this is the first time in Love Island history that they brought an OG, or he was a bombshell, but they brought a previous bombshell back to bombshell once more. They brought Kale back to go on a date with Tyra, and she basically had to choose right then and there if she wanted to bring him back to the villa or send him home for good. Obviously, she brought him back to the villa because they did have that initial spark, and they ended up winning the season. So I'm saying all of this because that's the closest I think we've ever gotten to like a true slow burn relationship on Love Island, because obviously the whole point of the show is finding a connection, so you're not necessarily trying to be a slow burn. I guess another example could be like Serena and Cordell from last season, but even though they were kind of a slow burn, I still feel like obviously they were a lot quicker than Nicolandria was, because it's episode 30 and Nicolandria just officially coupled up for the first time, which is freaking crazy. Like, they are just like the slowest of slow burns, which is why I'm saying, like, even though season 5 of Australia has something similar, they were not a true slow burn. Like, if you know slow burn, they don't get together until like the last 80% of the book, sometimes 85 or 90, depending on, you know, the genre or just like the context behind the story. So, with all that to be said, this is why I'm saying we are witnessing a true, tried and true Love Island slow burn in real time for the first time ever. It was so good, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, let's circle back. The night of the Casa Amor recoupling and the Nicolandria date, I truly, truly believe that they would have coupled up for real if they didn't bring them back to the villa that night. I think if they had put them somewhere like Hotel Amor, again, that's Love Island Australia, I believe, or my idea was just put them in the hideaway for that entire time, so like the Islanders didn't know that they were there, because I honestly think putting Nick and Alandria back in the villa with Taylor was what had like stopped them from truly exploring that connection, because like obviously in Alandria's mind, she is still very hung up on Taylor. Like, she wanted to be with him. Why she wanted to be with that man, I will never know. Nothing against, well, that's a lie. A little bit against Taylor, because I don't like the way that how he strung Alandria along and then eliminated Jalen, so basically taking away all of her other possible connections, and then just for him to throw her away for Clark, like, immediately. I did not like how all of that went down, obviously. But to continue my point, I think the fact that they put them back in the villa, especially so soon, like, what, they both got dumped and Nick was gone from the villa for probably 2 to 3 hours, and then they brought him back and then they just woke up in the villa the next morning. Like, I think that was the mistake that they made with that. I think if they had put them in the hideaway, truly gave them privacy and like the chance to really explore that connection, I might be delusional right now, but I think they would have actually coupled up for real by the end of that, because Nick, he was watching her the entire season, and it just kind of felt like he was waiting for his opportunity to finally like jump on the chance to be with Alandria. And now, as we're seeing after episode 30, he did jump on that chance. Like, he did not leave with Sierra. He stayed, and he is just so expressive with his feelings about Alandria. Like,
you know, you're the girl that, and Taylor's the guy for her, so.
Are you saying I'm your dream girl?
Basically. I saw your smile, and I was like, oh my god, my queen. I've been missing you this whole time. When I walked in, like, you were one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. I think you're super attractive and beautiful.
You just make me blush.
it's just such a stark difference of feeling and just his ability to enunciate his feelings so clearly. It's like he's writing poems when he's talking about Landria, and then you go and watch the date that he had with Sierra and he barely strings 3 words together. It's like you can tell his feelings were just not very genuine, but it kind of, he shot himself in the foot because he had sex with Sierra, and so he would have looked like a dick if he just had sex with her and then like dropped her. So the reason why I do have so much respect for Nick is because if he were a lesser person or just a different guy, I could see, you know, if it were a different person in the scenario, or if Nick just didn't have the same values that he has, he may have still just dropped Sierra anyways. But he didn't. But clearly, the guy does have morals, and, you know, that's respectable that he didn't just drop her straight away when he could have. I mean, it's Love Island. Like, he could have just used the excuse of, you know, we tried our connection, I'm feeling something stronger with Alandria, blah, blah, blah. But he stuck by Sierra, which I respect. And then people are going to be like, well, he didn't stick by her when she left, and I'm like, well, he didn't need to. But even more to say, like, that isn't Nick's responsibility to have to leave with her, especially because they just had that conversation about them not being closed off. I mean, the guy saw his opportunity and he took it. And you know what? Respect. No, but saying that as someone that was, like, wanting nicolandria to get together from day one, I'm not mad about it. Obviously, I'm very stoked. To continue my point, I truly do believe if Nick and Alandria had been given that opportunity to just be alone with their feelings, I feel like Nick would have fessed up, because obviously they had that kiss and soul ties and Alandria got freaked out, and so she was just like, you know, I think it's more of a friendship thing. And you can see that Nick was very intentional with the way he went about that conversation. He asked her to go first, and like, you can literally see it in his eyes when he realizes that she's shooting him down, and he looks disappointed. And I think if Alandria had said, you know, I think I'm ready to give this a try, like, I think we should try and explore our connection, I think Nick would have jumped on that straight away. The man has been yearning in silence, like, it looks like he's been in pain. He really wanted to be with Alandria. I like, the signs were all pointing to it, okay? I truly, truly think that he was yearning for her. He wanted to be with her from day one. So, it's just, like, the Taylor and Sierra of it all. Not even the Sierra of it all. I mean, yes, the Sierra of it all when they came back from Casa, but since they put Alandria in the villa with the boys, I think that is why, they didn't end up getting together during Casa. You know what? It all worked out. We did get our slow burn, but I would have been obviously really happy if they had coupled up during Casa, because, I mean, that date was just so romantic. And it's just like, you can tell from the different way that Nick treats Alandria versus Sierra. Like, with Alandria, he is such a gentleman. Like, he's constantly, you know, carrying her wine glass for her, he's holding her hand, helping her down the stairs, like, doing all of these acts of service for her. Meanwhile, you look at how he treats Sierra, it's just not the same. Like, he clearly just feels more inclined to be a gentleman around Alandria. It seems like she makes him want to be a better man and, like, person in general. And I do think that because their relationship was rooted in friendship first, like, they became really good friends before they ever tried anything too romantic, I think that is why their relationship works so well, because they know each other on such a deep level. I mean, just from based off of the way last night's episode went, where Nick was saying, you know, like, you make me want to be a better man, blah blah blah.
I just really feel like you have, like, my back. And when I think about, like, a girl in here who I have been enjoying my time with and who I'm comfortable with and, like, who I'm attracted to, yeah, someone I feel who would have my back, like that person would be you for me. And I feel like that thing I really appreciate about you is like bringing out, I feel like, a manlier side of me. And I think when I'm goofy, I feel like I bring out like a little bit of that funnier side to you.
Yeah.
I think just now it's like, I don't know, keep on chugging.
Keep on chugging, man.
Alandria, and I know that she'll have my back no matter what. I've always appreciated her fierce loyalty. I think she's someone I just enjoy, spending my time with, and that's what I'm looking for.
Well, anyway, I think just from his little speech that they had on the dock with each other before the recoupling, like, it's obvious that Nick is very, very emotionally connected with Alandria, and, like, for him, he's all in, and I truly do believe that Alandria is as well. I mean, just like from that one conversation that they had over on the, I don't even know what that was called, but when they were talking about like the fact that Sierra's gone, and like they brought up the Taylor and Clark being in 10th place, and Nick was like, how do you feel about that? And Alandria goes, I feel great. And then they just laugh. Like, I have never, ever, ever seen either of them laugh that hard for the entire season than I did in that one scene. And it just shows me that they feel so comfortable with each other. They feel like they can be their true, authentic selves. And when we're talking about friends to lovers, that is the entire trope in and itself. Like, you know each other on such a deep emotional level that you feel the most yourself when you're with that other person. And that is why I think they work so well. I mean, if we're gonna compare Nicolandria to some of my favorite slow burn friends to lovers ships, let's bring up People We Meet on Vacation. The fact that Poppy and Alex, they were friends in college. I mean, Poppy and Alex were friends for like 10 years before they finally got together, which is crazy. But again, their relationship was rooted in friendship. They were best friends for so long. They know each other better than anybody else. In the book, there's quotes and things where they're talking about the fact that they feel closer with each other than they do with their own romantic partners, which is like, come on now. Like, that's just a sign that you might have something more going on. And I truly do feel like that is Nicolandria in a nutshell. Like, they got to know each other, especially because I think it was the effort that Nick put in to really listen to Alandria. I guess when we're talking about their relationship and why I'm not surprised that they got together and why I was rooting for them the whole time, it's because I think Nick really listens to Alandria when she talks. Like, she'll mention one thing and Nick will just, like, do it. No questions asked. Like, she talked about the emotional connection thing, being friends first. I feel like Nick heard that on day one and he was like, alright, I'm gonna put in the work. Like, he thought to himself, yeah, like, I like this woman so much, I'm willing to play the long game for it to work out. And guess what? It did. I can't talk while I do my eyeliner, so give me 2 seconds. Now that that's done. So yeah, as I was saying, Nick heard all of these things that Alandria wanted. He kept it up in his brain, and he's slowly been, inching his way into Alandria's, like, romantic, emotional headspace, because he knew that she wanted to be friends first with her partner and make that connection before they did anything physical. So Nick became her friend first, and he created that emotional bond before they ever tried anything romantic with each other. And it just goes to show, like, this man has been listening to her and wanting her from day one. But that is why they work so well as a couple together, because it is kind of like a give and take. Like, Nick is a person that likes acts of services. He likes doing things for somebody, and Alandria feels completely comfortable with allowing him to do those things for her. Like, she never once steps back when he tries to do, nice things for her. Like, she allows him to grab her hand and lead her around the villa, and she allows him to hold her glass and just, like, do all of these nice, gentlemanly things. Like, I think she enjoys that, considering she's so fixated on the cowboy thing, and I feel like the cowboy thing really goes hand in hand with just being a gentleman. And even though Nick isn't her stereotypical cowboy love interest that she wanted, he is still a gentleman who checks all of her boxes. Like, he's been doing things for her this entire time, and I kind of feel like she's been not necessarily oblivious to it, but more so she was in denial because she also has her own values and like morals, and she saw that Sierra was very much into Nick, and so she was never going to allow herself to truly give into that connection because out of respect for her friend, even though said friend did not have the same respect for her other friends. We're not going to get into that though. That is why I feel like it took so long, and that is also why I'm saying this relationship is literally a slow burn friends to lovers story come to life in the first ever like reality TV version of it, and it was so beautiful to watch. But yes, to continue, you know, they have that steamy kiss in Soul Ties during Casa, and I really do feel like they both were so into it that it was probably a little bit jarring, specifically for Olandria. I think it was probably a really scary moment for her because she's thinking, oh my god, like, I've been putting all my time and energy into Taylor, like, I thought he was going to be the one. Like, she probably thought in her head that they were going to win. They were going to be together for long term coming out of the villa. And I feel like she kind of had this realization of like, oh shit, I'm feeling something with Nick that maybe I didn't even ever feel with Taylor in the first place. And I do think that is why she pulled back so suddenly the next day. Even after the kiss, you can kind of see her walls close back up, especially when they go back down with all of the other islanders. And this is also why I'm saying they should not have put them back in the villa, because I feel like Olandria having to face Taylor so quickly after that intimate moment with Nick really made her scared and really closed off her walls even faster than if they had like been alone in the hideaway, for example. So that is why I think she rejected him or like friend-zoned him the next day, just like obviously because she felt guilty and she had so much respect for Sierra and her connection with Nick that she didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And also, as we saw from the subsequent episodes that followed, she still was pretty hung up on Taylor, and I don't think she was in the right emotional headspace to fully commit to Nick and like fully commit to exploring that connection with him. So all of this goes to say that the way that this season played out is actually fucking insane. The fact that we managed to have Taylor find such a strong connection that he outright tells Olandria, I'm not interested in you, I'm picking Clark. And then for us to get Sierra, I mean, obviously we didn't do this on purpose, but for Sierra to leave the villa, and now we are finally in this perfect spot for Nicolandria to thrive. It's just crazy the way that everything worked out, because like honestly, once they came back from Casa and like Nick closed things off with Sierra, or Nick and Sierra closed things off with each other, I admittedly lost hope. I was like, well, I mean, I was keeping hope for when they were going to come out of the villa and see how much people loved Nick and Olandria together. Specifically, I was really excited to see Nick interact with his mom, or his family, since they all do want Nick to be with Olandria. That was kind of my last hope. I didn't have a single hope for them like working things out with each other in the villa, which is why episode 30 was such a freaking insane just like sequence of events. The fact that we managed to not only get them together but also get rid of Sierra, it was just like the perfect storm of everything that came together all at once. It was crazy. So the reason why I feel like the slow burn friends to lover is always going to work out the best is because you really build on that emotional connection. And I feel like Nick and Alandria are such a beautiful example of how this can work out despite the craziest odds, despite like all of us kind of losing hope towards the end there. Like, it just goes to show, if you're meant to be, then you're meant to be. I mean, this is like the most insane fated relationship to ever grace our Love Island screens, in my humble opinion. As somebody that is a pretty frequent Love Island watcher of multiple countries, I do feel like this is almost soulmate material. Listen, if I end up being wrong, you guys can clown me, you can call me stupid, whatever, but I truly do believe that Nick and Alandria have the most potential to work out together outside of the villa and to work out in the long run, because we got to witness them go through every single step. We got to witness them meet and form that emotional friendship bond, you know, confide in each other, admit that, like, Alandria said last night that Nick brings her a sense of like calm, and from what I've noticed throughout the season, that's very rare for Alandria. She's a very closed off person. She doesn't really open herself up to people very often. And specifically this is another reason why I think Casa really messed things up for her, because she thought that she was so strong with Taylor, and having to go to Casa and physically see him being so intimate with another woman, I really do think caused her to close off her walls once again, and that subsequently closed her walls off to Nick, which was just sad because it kind of seemed like Nick was opening up to her and he was really open to growing that relationship and taking the next step to a romantic connection with her. But just seeing them go from all of these ups and downs, like the friendship, and then having that romantic moment in Casa, but then closing it off again because Alandria just didn't feel right about it. And then now we're getting to finally see them really being open to each other is such a beautiful and like wonderful viewing experience, especially after the roller coaster of this season. I feel like the closest thing we had to that was Hannah and Pepe. Call me out if you want, but they were the ones that I was rooting for to win for the most part. I mean, I was obviously rooting for Nick and Alandria, but that was kind of a more like delusional rooting for them. Like, it kind of just didn't really seem like it was going to play out. But now that we're going to see this relationship play out in real time, I don't know about you guys, but I am voting for them to win, okay? Like, I have put in the work. I'm like Alandria. I put in the work, and now I'm gonna see the payoff, okay? And I love Amaya. Amaya is like my favorite Islander, just full stop. However, I put too much time and energy into Nicolandria, okay? I need to see it through. I need to see them win. I also just realized I forgot to put on lip stuff. So we're gonna do that really quick. If you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up and give me a subscribe. I'm planning to make a book talk video next, talking about specifically the This Woven Kingdom series. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and give me a subscribe. Thank you so much for sitting and listening to my little Love Island rant. If you're a Nicolandria shipper, and even if you're not, I hope you have a great week, and I hope this season 7 will live up to our standards and our hopes. Let's just pray that Nicolandria manages to pull through, because if they don't, I'm gonna look like an idiot, and I think everybody's gonna be a little bit upset. So, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.